Hey beautiful people, this is Xaenex, and this is episode 1, numero uno of State of the Kingdom. With me I have GM Obspho, Kitty, Saito, and Pockets. What's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
What's up?
Alright, so for episode 1, I'd like for each of us to kind of just do a short introduction of ourselves. One by one, we'll just say your character's name, your level, and when did you begin playing the game? I'll start. My name is Xaenex. My character's name is also Xaenex, Xaenex. I am level 46, slacking. I have a Guardian Ravager. Yeah, Guardian Ravager. And I started playing Founders Beta day 1, and I've been covering the game. Actually, no, that is not true. I started playing in the press test or event that was held. I almost forgot about that. But yeah, that's a little bit of me.
Alright, I'm GM Obspho. Some of you guys may have seen me around. As far as level, that actually kind of fluctuates wildly. Part of the joy of being a GM. So, yeah, it really depends on when you catch me. I also have been leveling up my non-GM character, but that's kind of secretive. And as far as when I started playing, well, when we got the game into the office.
Hi, I'm Kitty. I play on Hydra. My main's a bard. It's level 59 at the moment, but it's been that way since like a week since I stopped leveling, more or less. I started playing actually at the beginning of open beta, just beginning of closed beta, so that's quite late compared to some people. I wasn't in Founders at all, but I guess I've caught up a bit now. So yeah.
My name is Saito, and my level is 54 at the moment, I think. And my character is a wizard / gunner, because them gunslingers are sexy. And I started playing mostly, I think, 10 minutes before Founder Beta started. I was like, I saw the game and I just bought the supply pack, and just played with everybody else the second it started.
Hey, my name's Pockets. I play in the Hydra server at the moment. My character main class is Ravager, subclass Guardian. I'm currently level 56, and I started playing since the Founders Beta. Same with Xaenex.
Yeah, you guys kind of outdo me a little bit. I was almost a little bit embarrassed to see my character's level, but... But guys, I really wanted to kick off this first episode with just getting your impressions on how apocalyptic the opening day for the game was. What did you experience opening day?
Okay, well, from our side of it, from the GM perspective, it was intense. We knew there would be a lot of player interest in the game, which we keep an eye on various aspects of player expectations. But honestly, it blew us away. I can honestly say that so far, Aura Kingdom has shattered records for area, just left and right. I mean, whether it's amount of users logged in at one time, or amount of unique people, or just, the list goes on and on. So yeah, it was very, very crazy yet fun to actually see that happening.
Well, for me it was a bit of a nightmare. I'm in Europe anyway, so the servers didn't come up till 1:30 AM, or were supposed to. And I did a job interview the next day at 9:30. So I was like, right, I'll stay up to 1:30, get my name saved and go to bed. The servers came up 3:30. I was like, okay, crap, should have gone to bed. This is 2 hours, should I go to sleep? Should I stay up? What should I do? Well, I'm glad I stayed up because I really like the name I got, but...
We had some EU people that were really, really dedicated at that too. We definitely saw some of you guys staying up way, way late to be able to log in.
Yeah, I have to agree with Kitty. Though, I wasn't stressing out as much as everybody else. I saw the shout box just going down and down and down, like with many amount of spam. And so I was like, I don't know, I'll just play Katamari on the forums, and I just activated my Katamari app, and I just messed around. So I wasn't that much stressed.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic on the opening day. Actually, was in a guild. We already formed the guild in a raid call kind of program. Whilst we waited, we were just like singing karaoke in the raid call, and we were waiting for the game to open. So it didn't open for hours later, but yeah, once you get in, it's very hectic, and like there's so many players just running around everywhere.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
what I definitely remember the most was just like the agonizing 2 hours. Like I sat there and people like that got in, for some reason they each were like streamers, and I just remember being so jealous. And everyone in our raid call was just like going off there, oh, they're level 20 already, and this isn't fair. And I was just like biding my time. I wanted to act all professional and be like, I'm above that, but inside I was like cursing as well.
Yeah,
But
and
once
unfortunately, that's something that sometimes happens with launches, especially when it's something that's this huge, and they just had so many people just trying to log in. Basically, it was kind of the equivalent of trying to shove a basketball through a hose. That was the login of everyone just trying to get in there at once. So yeah, it was pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, it was even so intense that, like, then you have to open a third server, which was kind of a surprise to me. Was anyone else surprised?
Actually. Well, I mean, that's the kind of thing that, you know, we try to prepare for as much as we can. But what we found really interesting about War Kingdom was usually when games are initially launched, you'll see a lot of players logging in at first, and then they'll kind of drop off after a little while, which is pretty common within the gaming industry itself. However, with War Kingdom, it actually did not die down, like, at all. It just, our amount of players logged in just stayed really high and was not going down at all. So we basically decided that at this point we definitely need to add a third server, just because there is so much player interest in this. Which, I mean, again, this is just blowing us away. How many people are just loving the game, getting in there, playing it. And I mean, it's crazy, it's intense, but it's exciting to see it happen.
Yeah. Did any of you guys even try to start on the third server, or were you already like dedicated to your servers? I know I was dedicated. I was like, I'm not leaving Nigeria.
Yeah, sadly, once you stick with a guild and you get to know everyone, you kind of tend to want to play with your friends.
Yeah, I agree with Saito. So we were all in a guild. We all started playing together as a guild. So it was pretty hard to. We would probably move from Hydra server.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, it was already like level 55 by the time the news came out. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that again.
I was gonna. Yeah,
55.
I was gonna say, at the current rate that we're leveling, it really doesn't matter. Like, you can really restart on another server and maybe get to like the highest level in a weekend. I mean, like, not highest level, like to level 50, where you can hang out and, you know, have fun. My friends started on Chimera because they didn't learn about this game until later on. So it was kind of sad, but I told them, you can like level in a night. Come join Hydra. It's the best server.
Well, that was part of why we actually implemented the third one, was both for the people who were a bit of latecomers to the game, and also because there were several people who were still fairly low level on the first two servers. And this gave them a chance to go check out a different server that might not have been quite so crowded. And so far, by checking the statistics of people who've actually logged into the server, it seems to have helped. We're going to continue checking on that and see if we need to make any further adjustments. But it definitely helped take some of the pressure off.
Definitely. And just a couple days, I think it was like 3 or 4 days after the Chimera opened, Siren just went into like complete mayhem. what happened? I kind of like, it kind of flew over my head for a while until I saw the news announcement.
Okay, well, yeah, that was definitely interesting. So first off, I know some players saw that there was a DDoS attack going on at the time. And I did want to clarify that first off, while there was one happening at the time that there was server issues on Siren, and it definitely didn't help the matter, that was actually unrelated to the issues that we experienced. Basically, what happened was we encountered a data error. So once we noticed this, we quickly worked with both the developers and our server hosting people to fix the issue itself. Unfortunately, that did lead to data loss for some players, which we've been working very, very hard to make sure that we can correct this for as many people as possible. At this point, most of the affected players should have had as much recovered for them as we could, which we're still working with a few people who require additional investigation, kind of, handling case-by-case basis. But we're hoping to have this wrapped up pretty soon. And for players that were affected, we did make sure that there was a compensation pack sent out for them, because we understand it was an inconvenience for them, and we do apologize for that.
And what was the compensation pack?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I have it stored somewhere, but basically we wanted to put in stuff that would, if they encountered such things such as missing items or lower character levels, we put in stuff that would help them level up faster, that would help them get their Eidolons back to the level it was, basically things that would help them recover and catch up from anything that was lost. And most players, we were able to recover to a point very close to where they were when they were affected.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people going on the forums and even like making videos of what they're gonna do now that Siren was kind of down. Were any of you guys like even affected by that? I know I wasn't, since I was on Hydra.
Yeah, Hydra people really, we didn't even know about it unless we checked the forum, like when we're logging on. But we didn't think much of it. We were just hanging out, loving, doing our own thing. So yeah, sorry, Siren.
True.
I can hear the GM favoritism people plotting right now.
Oh gosh, that's funny. Okay, so and then after the whole meltdown, it's good to hear that people are actually being recovered, because a lot of people might be afraid of their losses, especially when it comes to guilds. That was an interesting thing, but we actually saw even new content since open beta began. Like, can you guys just explain briefly? Maybe Pockets can explain briefly what it was, and what do you think it added to the game as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you go ahead and go first.
Okay, so they added new two maps since the open beta. It was Candio Marsh, and the other map was what was the other map called?
Ventus Prairie?
No, the Highlands one. What's it called?
Trashia Highlands. That's the one. Yeah, Trashia Highlands. Yeah, they added new dungeons instances, and they were quite fun. When I started playing the new content at level 50, I think it was one of the boss monsters in Candio Marsh. I think it was the Toto, unless it was in Trashia Highlands. Do you guys remember the Toto?
Yeah, Toto was in CC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is overpowered. When I was level 50, I was like, wow, I got owned by his AoE.
Your guild chat was just like, oh my god, Toto killed us again.
All you gotta do is kite. All you gotta do is kite.
I can neither confirm nor deny the fact that we sit there and watch players die and give up.
Oh, that was the meanest boss I've ever versed against. It was quite similar to the new boss in Obelisk Wood, the new content for level 55 and up. Oh wait, 50. Is it 55? Content level 55. It was that pony as well. It was the same thing. had troubles with it at first, but then yeah, we got used to the kiting and the AoE. We started to get used to the how the boss uses its skills and like how it attacks, and yeah, it got easier after that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about you, Kitty?
Anything else?
Kitty,
Yeah.
he's asking your opinion about the content.
Oh, when it came out, it was like a little bit of a challenge. Like CC, how I was like, oh my god, gonna die on Toto. But now it's just a bit like I can just walk through, pull everything, not get hurt by anything.
Yeah.
We just AoE everything at the beginning of the dungeon and do it in 5 minutes. It's just a bit. It's the same as doing any of the beginner dungeons now, really.
That definitely
Yeah.
is the plan for us, though. Is we want things to be initially a challenge, but for people to be able to adjust and learn the strategies, and also helps when they get better gear. One thing that we're really watching right now is the Infernal Abyss.
Yeah, people have got
Which-
past level 40 on that already.
Yeah.
I mean, what
No
the
one's
cap
beat it yet,
level
though.
is 50.
And that, for those who may not be in the know, that's a new dungeon that's recently been added, and it's a time dungeon with I believe 50 levels, and it gets progressively more and more difficult the further you go. So far we have not seen anyone beat it. We're watching for that. But so far, no one's managed to make it all the way.
Any tips or tricks for someone to beat it, Mr. GM?
Flame armor. Really invest in flame armor. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
Then you
as
don't
far
get
as
one
that
shot
goes,
by all the bosses.
that's something the community would be better advised on, unless you want your tips to be use GM powers, which I feel that's not very helpful to you.
Yes.
You can come in my party if you like. I don't mind. I want to see what 450 looks like.
Just saying. So Saito, what's your experience? What do you think about the content that's been added?
Well, I'm a very stubborn player. Like, I tend to do this slow everything, so I don't. So at first, I don't like burden my team. So when I was doing CC, like everybody was talking about Toto, I had a very harsh time with him just because I was like, oh, I want to be Kirito, no potion, no nothing. Let's go ahead and do this. Of course, that led to failing many.
Yeah, I've tried that before. That doesn't work so well for me.
Indeed.
Let's be real. You are a GM.
So
I play too. I mean, both for King and other games, and I honestly I understand their perspective, because you want to feel like I'm this hardcore, really just totally decked out player. But
Yes.
unfortunately, there are some. I've encountered some mobs that do not care what you think about yourself.
yeah. Also, not mentioning I'm a squishy wizard that's all HP and no depth.
Yeah, watching
So-
Saito die in dungeons is kind of funny.
So, yeah, it was a bit hard until I got the nocturnal damage staff, which makes me able to regain HP instantly with meteors. So that's makes my life a lot easier. That's about it. For
I
me.
kind of feel left out though. Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of just I've been that tortoise, and I feel like I'm gonna become a hare soon. Where like I leveled to level 38 the first night, and then I stopped for like 5 days, and then I bit back up, got to 46, and stopped again. And
Yeah.
just kind of like that sprinter, I guess. I can't. But the
Yeah,
game
I'm sorry. I wanted to voice a concern that I had as well. Like, the quest only brings us to around level 54 or 53 if you do all the quests, right? And I was thinking, would you be left behind if you don't grind all those dungeons? But if you wait for those more quests from those content, like that will level us up, or is it made to be where we need to grind dungeons to level up to the next thing? Because I kind of feel like left behind because I don't have much time to play, kind of thing. And I my main leveling was quests, so that was the kind of concern I had. But I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Also, what do you think?
Well, as far as that goes, we're kind of trying to avoid keeping it too grindy. Which, since we are catering to a Western audience, we're kind of trying to avoid that whole aspect of it. As to specifics of it, that I can't really comment on too much myself, because that's more something that's worked out with the developers themselves, and it's kind of an ongoing process. Now, basically, what I know is that a lot of leveling is intended to be through quests. However, this is something that we actually have had to make adjustments with that at higher levels already, and it's something that we're also keeping an eye on to see if it's something that we need to adjust further in the future. So, basically, it's not something I can give you a solid answer right now, and I apologize for that, but it's something we're looking into.
That's fine.
From my perspective, I mean, I haven't even experienced all that content yet, but at the same time, from what I've been noticing, I feel like the game, rather than working on one hard cap, it does work on a hard cap of level 70, but then there's a series of soft caps where it kind of shows you that you're not really meant to be past this level, even though you can go past this level. So, for example, like, I feel the same thing was done in our Eden Eternal, where like the hard cap, I believe, when it first opened was 55, but the soft cap really was 50, because after you got 50, there was really no content to supplement that besides maybe the end game dungeon. And I feel like
that's a very good way of looking at it. Yeah. Part of it is, it kind of is in there to try and cater towards both types of players, because we have our more relaxed casual players who want to get to a level that they're comfortable with and that they can do the content at, and then there are the people who actually do appreciate the hardcore content. And yeah, I mean, that's part of how it works, is you can try to advance, but it may not be easy at a certain point.
Yeah, because I even noticed that especially once you hit like 55, for those players that have hit 55, I'm noticing that they take like a day or two to get a level. And that's with pure dungeon grind. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So even for me, that's part of even my hesitance. I'd rather wait for the content, because I know it's been commented on by GM Leo, or one of the GMs on the staff, that said the actual content schedule is pretty good. Like, for the next few months, the content schedule, as far as how they're released, is going to be pretty good. So I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to that new content rather than like grinding dungeon after dungeon.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I that's something though that it does really vary wildly from player to player, as far as the player perspective of, is there enough content? Well, I mean, that really depends on who you ask, because I mean, some people they just tear through content, they just devour it, and I suspect there's a lot of Red Bull involved and very, very little sleep.
Yes.
And some people did 40-hour shifts to get to like 55 in the first day.
Are you talking about yourself in that instance, Kitty? Cough, cough.
No, actually, I didn't play for like the first 4 days.
Remember, I can check the logs on this. But yeah, other people go at a bit more relaxed of a pace. So really, it depends on who you ask as to whether there's enough content or not. But so far, and again, touching back on things such as, Infernal Abyss, so far we haven't seen anyone beat all of that content yet. And yeah, I'm not sure if it was Leo who said it or not, but there is a lot more content planned, and we have a very good, healthy release schedule planned.
Yes, especially looking forward to that ARAM style PvP new thingy there.
ARAM. Quite from League of Legends.
Yes. It was teasered, I think, for the other versions. I don't think for the American versions yet, but yeah, it looks a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think anything that's coming out in the Taiwanese version.
Yeah.
unfortunately, but it does look like there's some. Oh, and I do want to know like that X Legend actually has like some like 300 people, either 100 or 300 people actively working on the game. So that's, I read that at MMO Culture and I was like, whoa. That makes
there are a lot,
yeah,
yes. I mean, I actually haven't been able to go out there, but a lot of people on our team, such as Spyra, has gone out there, and they brought back pictures, and there are a lot of people working on that. So yeah, there's definitely quite a few devoted to the game.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting because you don't see that, especially in a free-to-play sector nowadays, and especially once a free-to-play game kind of like releases, you don't see that consistent schedule. I didn't really see that consistent schedule with Eden Eternal myself. I remember it taking quite a while before we saw the first like editions of the advanced classes, and for AK it looks like the schedule is going to be pretty good. I mean, 2 weeks in we already have.
Well, that's the plan.
Content.
Definitely the plan.
That's awesome. What do you guys think the current state of the end game is in the game? Like, I know people like there are dailies and there are the 2 dungeons. Do you think like that's enough, or what do you feel?
Well, it's only Infernal now that's a challenge. Like even WT Hell, you can just walk straight through it pretty much, as long as you're above like level 55. So yeah, I think people are still excited by the idea of like getting to the top of Infernal. Like you still see loads of people like, oh yeah, I got to level 38 this time. But I think as soon as it becomes common to hit level 50 every time, people will be like, wow, this is normal. What else is there to do?
Yeah. I had a talk with Kitty before, and she only comes on now to do her dailies kind of thing, and I kind of only do that too, but I still try to level, but mostly the content doesn't it doesn't feel like it's gonna last for me at the moment. I mean, until they come out more, but it's that's how it's always going to be. I mean, if we get to the content before we can complete it, you know, well, that's the kind of player.
Well, that is kind of a common thing for a lot of games, and ideally, the goal for anything like that is to put in content and just let players get a feel for it, play through it. And then once the majority of the player base is getting to a point where it's old, it's not exciting anymore, that's when new content is added. Now, again, that's something it's very tricky to kind of judge the right time for that, because it really varies wildly depending on what the player's play style is like. However, yeah, we do keep an eye on that. We definitely watch that, and we do work with the developers as to when a good time is to release more content. As much as players would actually like for us to release everything at once, it doesn't work too well like that.
Yeah. Wouldn't your game and life be perfect if at the snap of your finger you finish all the content, then it's like I want more food. Just like that. No, sometimes you just gotta have to wait for it to simmer and cook and then get released.
Yes.
I think one of the reasons it feels like there's sometimes nothing to do is that most free-to-play games have like a PvP system. You can just join at any time, like 1v1 or big arena fights. Like, for instance, I played a lot of Dragon Nest before this, where the PvP system there is amazing. So like, even if you've done your dungeons or you feel like, oh, I can't be bothered like killing monsters anymore, like you can still go and spend 12 hours PvPing. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Well, we do agree that's definitely a good thing to have, and we do definitely have a lot more plans in the works for that. Bear in mind that's something that may appeal to some players and it may not appeal to other players. So while we do agree that it's great to have that and have stuff for people who are really into PvP, just bear in mind that's not the entire player base.
I think a lot of the current endgame state has to do with the fact that, honestly, I feel like a lot of people just kind of blew through content and may have skipped like the cutscenes where you get your first idol, or when you get Sigrund, skip through the stories, because I actually kind of went back and started reading a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the quests, and they're actually pretty entertaining. Not for the most part, but a lot of it is actually pretty entertaining. And even the NPCs, when you have like those mini conversations where you just kind of like stand there and watch them talk, the references that they say. I mean, there's even threads about like the references in the game, and it's pretty awesome, I must say. But yeah, it's kind of that a lot of people just kind of blew through the content, because I feel like if it had simmered, people wouldn't be so anxious for new content already.
I have to agree with that, but the people that are like that are the people that say like they want to be the best, like Pokemon. I want to be the very best. I'm going to work my hardest, just get to the top.
Pokedelamon?
Yes, just go blow through it. That's why they do that. And I have to admit, I did not watch the cutscenes for my Edelon jumping up because I wanted to keep up with everybody else, because I didn't want to be behind. So you're right. But since we're going and talking about the PvP kind of area, I want to bring up a subject that I like the GM to answer. Is the class? The class seems really, depending on who you ask, the class seems unbalanced, at least to me. Mostly because I'll you'll see a Guardian Bard or a Bard always are just seem like invincible. Of course, if you're really smart and strong, you can take down anyone. But there's some class that seems too overpowered. What do you have on that?
Well, first off, yes, that's something to watch. And one thing to bear in mind, though, is that is something that's rather difficult to quantify, because it really depends on who the player is, what class they're playing, what combination they're going up against, and it can also depend on the skill set of the player themselves. So while it's something that we're watching for, and if necessary talking to our developers about, it's something that we can't have a definite statement on at this time. However, there is also another thing that would need to be remembered by our player base, is that this is also something that would have an effect on PvE as well. So if we see something is really horribly unbalanced, we can talk to the devs about it. But the best way for us to get a better feel for that is by, as you just did, feedback. I mean, we definitely welcome feedback on that. And if you really want us to take a look at that, just contact us, or have a please logical and constructive criticism discussion about it on the forums, anything like that. So that's the best way to get your word out, but in the meantime we do monitor that as well.
I see.
What do you guys think what do you guys think about the road ahead for the game over the next couple weeks?
Honestly, we're excited. I mean, seeing the amount of feedback and response we've been having so far, I mean, we're just really looking forward to seeing what comes next. We definitely have our plans in the works, but it really depends on what works out for our player base as well. But we're very excited here at Area, just seeing everything that's been happening so far with the game and the massive amount of feedback we've been having. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Yeah, it's really an exciting game, I have to admit, because I made so much. I usually get bored of games, but it's such a beautiful game that I make stay and want to make videos, and especially the dances just makes everything fun. So this game will be here for a while. That's all I can say, in my opinion.
That's the plan. And yeah, the dancing is. I mean, I'll find myself when I'm at home playing, I'll just end up doing like ridiculous, silly things just because it's fun. A shout out to some of the players that are engaged in this. There are a lot of people who are into ostrich cart riding, which I have to admit I actually find myself doing that far too much. But it is pretty fun.
Yes.
Alright, so one thing I do want to kind of bring up for those who are watching or listening to the podcast right now, every week we're going to be answering, GM Obspho is going to be answering questions from the community. And at the time of announcing this podcast, I kind of sent out feelers for you guys to send in questions, and it was actually pretty awesome. And GM Obspho and the team have kind of just gathered together to answer a lot of the frequently asked questions from the community. So I think we should just jump right in.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we'll start out with XO_S Stradivarius.
It's a violin.
Oh, okay. Okay, so his question was, does Area have any plans right now on how to deal with the large influx of bots and gold farmers? A method that does not hinder the regular player too much whilst being effective on bots.
Okay, so first off, I just want to make clear that this is actually something that's very, very important to us as well, because we acknowledge that that kind of thing can really end up hurting a game, and we don't want to see that happen. So we've actually already been taking a lot of steps to address them, which some you may have seen, some you may have not, but we have a lot more plans in the works for that as well, some of which will actually be implemented very soon. Unfortunately, I can't go into too much detail on that because we don't really want people to have foreknowledge of what we're going to be doing to the bots, because then they'll try to take steps to stop it. But I do want to make sure that if you don't see someone immediately addressed, don't worry about it. That's actually a normal thing, because usually when we get a bot report, we'll often watch them for a while. Basically, just track them to see who they're interacting with, what exactly they're doing, and once we've got a better feel for that, then we'll just do a big mass sweep of them. But it's kind of akin to how police will sometimes try to go straight to the source of a crime, rather than just nabbing the middleman.
Yes, I have to admit that I am guilty. I've seen that the system being used in the game of preventing bots and like people yelling in all the chats and promoting their sites. I actually was a innocent victim of that. I played a stupid joke on Road Chat and I got myself muted for 3 days for saying buy goat at blah blah blah, like as a joke.
Oh dear.
I had to have a personal GM come online, unmute me to continue being able to speak. But yes, I was. Yes.
So, yeah, as you can see, we're definitely trying to crack down on that.
Yes.
And unfortunately, yeah, you do want to be careful with that, because sometimes we'll see something and we're like, oh, we got to get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely taking steps to work on it.
That is hilarious. That's awesome. Yeah, it's also good that you pointed out the fact of like, I kind of don't understand why people think that the GMs aren't working, because I think it's just better to get their network rather than just get one bot at a time. Like, just
I mean, from a player perspective, it is understandable, because I'm a player myself. I understand how it seems. You see someone, you report someone, they're not immediately taken care of, and to that it probably feels like they're not being looked into. But that's definitely not the case, which we actually have an entire running list of a lot of people who are doing that, as well as other kind of shady activities. We tend to just really want to make sure we fully investigate them, and then when it's the proper time, we just nuke them all.
Awesome stuff. It's actually very reassuring to know that too. Next question. Chuba88 asks, will Arena ever be changed so that you can join a queue and start on demand, as opposed to the opening during certain times? This is the way it is done in almost every other area game, and is, in my opinion, the best way to do it.
Okay, as to that, actually, I think there are a couple players who asked questions like that. I believe I remember seeing one by Heartless as well that was similar. So as to the arena system, and I know Kitty was talking about that earlier as well, that it's nice to have a lot more PvP. And 1 sec, please. And sorry about that. Fellow GMs are being very noisy and very disrespectful, and I give them a very frowny face for that.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, Anyway, moving on from that. But yeah, I believe, as I was saying, Kitty mentioned that earlier, that, you know, it's nice to have that PvP system in place. As to will it be changed so that it's open all the time, we're looking into that. Right now, it's the way it is mainly for two reasons. One is due to current system limitations, and the other is just to ensure there are actually a sufficient amount of players queuing at the same time, so there isn't a really lengthy wait when you do want to enter the arena. Now, that's something that really is dependent upon the player base itself, so it's something that we actually have to keep track of ourselves. So right now we're very closely monitoring player metrics as well as player feedback on that. So if it is necessary to change that in the future, we will be discussing it with the developers.
Speaking of Heartlust, he actually asked a question as well, which is actually very similar. Their question was, what is the reason behind closing off PvP with set times? If the concern is players acquiring PvP items too quickly, if PvP permanently would be open, wouldn't just increasing the cost of the items be a better solution?
Well, that's pretty much similar to the previous question, but it's definitely not. It's not about acquiring PvP items too quickly. It's just more of a matter of both the system itself and wanting to make sure there are enough people that are doing it. Because if there wasn't a set time for it, then there might not be enough people queuing at one time. There would be long wait times. There are other issues that are kind of more background and I can't get into at the moment. But there are reasons for it. But just like any other issue, we're always willing to consider it. And especially if we get a lot of feedback from the player base.
This is basically like a round of the most popular questions. People want to know, like, when is the next patch? What is the next patch? When are... Yeah, let's get into those first.
All the upcoming
the upcoming patches.
Okay, well, as far as that goes, top secret. Honestly, though,
Wow.
That hurt a little.
No, we can give you some information for now. Right now, what I can tell you is that we actually are hoping to release more content next month. Bear in mind, and please, again, bear in mind, this is potentially subject to change. However, that's what we're looking at right now. And I can tell you that the next class coming out will be the Qatar. So that is something that's planned to come out in the future.
And will that be with the next patch, or?
Still to be determined. But we are looking at a lot of upcoming content. There's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. And as we get closer to being able to release it, we're actually going to be doing a lot of sneak peeks. So do make sure that you keep an eye on the forums, because we're going to be showing off upcoming stuff. So players will be able to get a good idea of what's coming.
Awesome. And what about the bow class? Any information on that? People are kind of anticipating that one as well.
They're anticipating a lot of stuff,
right?
And there's definitely a lot of stuff coming up. All I can tell you on that right now is it will come. It will definitely come. Can't tell you when, but it's definitely going to be in the future.
And are there going to be any new add-ons released?
Actually, there's a ton that we've seen already. And I know a lot of the player base has seen some of the ones that are on the other version of the game. Now, of course, do bear in mind that not everything they get will be stuff that we get, but there is a lot of stuff planned. And honestly, we've actually seen some of the ones that we're getting, and they are cool. They are very cool. We're very excited about them.
Cool in looks, or like features, or even both?
Honestly, both. But yeah, there are some of them we would just sit here and watch the videos of them here, and there was a lot of excited yelling.
That's good. Oh, and there's actually another really, really important question asked by Sopa PT, and it's like, can we have a banana suit? Super important.
Banana suit. I'm not sure about that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we really need one.
We'll see if we can because apparently potatoes are very important to the player base. So,
Oh.
Right. What was the second choice? Potatoes and what?
Saying it. I believe I remember seeing people wanting banana and potato.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a random thread. That's awesome.
We will make sure to pass this very valuable feedback.
Many people think the third server should have been not Chimera, but potatoes.
Yeah, I would have played on banana.
I actually tried to talk them into that on the night of the servers going up, but they did not go.
So thank you guys for being on the podcast. We're gonna wrap this up. Do you guys have any final questions for GM Obspho? Any comments, any statements?
Yeah, I was gonna, since we were talking about PvP, I was wondering if you guys are gonna change any, make it so that players are more evenly balanced, like the character levels, especially in PvP. Like, there were at times where in PvP where there was level 55s partying with a level 46, for example. Would that be changed?
Couldn't tell you at this time.
I was in a PvP where there was a level 66 just one-shotting a level 41 constantly. It's so funny. It was just chasing down
That is, man.
As far as that goes, we do understand the concern. That's something that generally for stuff like this, it does require a lot of back and forth between us and the developers. Because we can't just say do this and they'll automatically change it. So generally first, before doing anything like that, we have to gather a lot of metrics, a lot of data about why things need to be changed from how they are. However, this is something that we do on a regular basis. It just gather as much info as we can and go to them and suggest that things are changed. So while, and again, I apologize, while I can't actually give you a definite yay or nay on this, it's definitely something that we can look into.
Okay, no worries. Thanks a lot. Obspho.
Absolutely.
That level 66, really? Already?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Again, Red Bull.
Right? They should probably become a Red Bull sponsor if that's the case.
Okay.
Do you guys have any methods you guys can be in contact with? Like Twitter?
Oh, you can find me on the nearest corner at the ramen stand.
His face is a bit high though. He's a bit of a rip-off.
Are you in that ramen guild? I know I've seen them.
No. I am in the most hated guild on Hydra.
Yeah, so much.
Long to the horizon.
Oh, are you serious? Log Horizon?
The Banana
Yes, sir.
Guild.
Yes, sir. I don't know why they hate us. We love everyone. We want everyone to do dances with us, but share bananas, but you can only dream. You can only dream.
Oh gosh. Kitty, do you have a Twitter or Facebook they can get in touch with you? Or
Not really, I don't. I haven't really got anything actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think people have to try harder than that to stalk me, to be honest.
Alright, you guys can find me Xaenex on YouTube at youtube.com/XaenexTV and on Facebook, facebook.com/Xaenex. GM also and I will be here every week doing this podcast, and it was so awesome having you guys. I hope to have you guys back next week. You guys are pretty awesome.
No worries. Thanks a lot, Xaenex.
Arigato.
Alright, guys, see you next week. Oh, please do not forget to submit your questions for next week's episodes. This is going to be a weekly thing, so for next week, submit your questions to be answered by GM Obspho.
Definitely more questions about bananas.
Definitely.
All of the banana questions. Yes.
Keep it PG. This is original. Alright,
Oh,
guys.
with the banana costume, I was wondering if would there be like a new dance with the banana, like peanut butter jelly?
Yes.
That one?
Yes.
Come on, we must have
I
that.
would tell the developers this is mandatory now. I don't see how we have another option.
Oh my god, that'll be so epic.
Alright, guys. We
All
will
right,
see
well,
you
thanks,
next
guys.
week.
See yous.
Right, see you.
Please check out the featured artist for this series.